Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, and we are deep into the throes of Transformers The Last Night. As of this recording, the film opened yesterday, and I went with my family to see it. There is a full review up of it. The first section has no spoilers. The second section is absolutely full and goes from beginning to end with spoilers. But I wanted to continue on here and take a look at something that I feel like I really need to discuss, but I don't see me going in for all of the figures to come. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the toy exclusives. We're going to focus a lot on Mission to Cybertron, that subline, but we're going to touch on a couple of others, and you see a mix here of some last night toys and some that don't seem like they really fit in, but I'll explain how everything here does and kind of give my thoughts as we take a look at a whole bunch of stuff rather quickly in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, share, check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, have a look at Universal Collision, spend some time on the channel, see what catches your interest and tickles your fancy, and check me out everywhere. So, as with all movies, we're getting a bunch of exclusives. I have to be honest, I'm getting really tired of exclusives. Both in this line and the Titans Return line and whatever else. I'm really tired of this exclusive nonsense. I don't like it. It's not special anymore. Now it's just annoying. So, we have a few things to discuss here. Because there's actually a number of lines, figures, whatever that would be considered exclusive, and in fact I am missing one of them, so give me a second. I'm going to add him in. And the guy that I'm talking about is this. It is Barricade. Now this is the regular retail version of Barricade. He scored all right. I wasn't particularly struck on his transformation because of the way the arms work. But you know, it is what it is. In Hong Kong, I believe you can get a battle damaged version of him that's an exclusive. Whether you get this or whether you get the other one, I still think it's probably the best Barricade we have going, but that's not to say it's a particularly good figure. Would I pay a premium for a battle damaged Barricade? No, I wouldn't. I'm not even sure to what extent he's actually battle damaged. Then we have an